bowing down to me, being helped by me. Now, if you told your bigger brothers and sisters that, I'm sure they wouldn't feel excited about that at all. And they became angry at him, and what did they call him? Dreamer, they said. And they got angry, and they tore his clothes off, and they threw him in a pit. I mean, they did all kinds of things to Joseph because they heard a dream that they could not believe. You know, when you have a glimpse of your vision, of your purpose, you don't believe it either. Because God's dream for you is much bigger than what you're thinking. As a matter of fact, society is working against God's dream for you because society already told you what you can and cannot do. You know, you could always tell when your dream is from God. It's much bigger than what your parents thought. You can always tell when your dream is from God. It's much bigger than what you thought. You can always tell when your dream is from God. Even you got trouble believing it. You can always tell when your dream is from God. Everybody thinks you're crazy. You believe that? Clap your hand. It's true, huh? If you believe God, people think you're crazy. You know, if everybody agrees with you the first time you tell them your dream, it's not from God. Write that down as a measure. As a matter of fact, I've discovered a principle related to dreaming. And that is, if a dream is from God, you have to be totally rejected before you can be accepted. People will reject you first because you will go against the norm. You will actually step out of the boundaries of their expectations for you. People already have decided in their minds who you are. And when you decide to be who you were born to be, it disappoints them. That's why they end up hating you, and they begin to almost become antagonistic against you. But don't let antagonism make you believe that you are wrong. Resistance is usually a sign that you're right, because it means you're breaking out of people's expectation of you. And by the way, very few people in this earth have high expectations for you. They have very low expectations of you. So when you start dreaming what God wants you to do, people always think you're crazy. That's why they threw Joseph in a pit. Can I say then that without purpose, without a clear understanding of why you were born, you can never succeed? Because purpose separates you from everybody else's opinion of you. You cannot be successful if you don't know where you're going. Vision gives you a destination. Vision gives you an address that you're supposed to go toward. Vision gives you a goal to accomplish. Without vision, you can go any route and it'll get you anywhere. But with purpose and vision, you know who to say no to, what corners to take, what streets to go on, who to be with. You see, if you don't know your purpose, then anything is right. But if you know your purpose, then you know that you can never be manipulated by other people. You know, one of the saddest things I've seen in life is that people don't know why they exist. You and I have got to discover our purpose so we can get our vision. The great writer Solomon says, without a vision, what happens? People perish. Say it with me. Without vision, people perish. Say it loud. Without vision, people perish. Say it to your neighbor. Without a vision, people perish. Now, that word perish actually is the Hebrew word that should be translated to throw off discipline. Without a vision, people throw off discipline. Now, what is discipline? Discipline is self-imposed standards on your own life. Self-discipline is the highest form of discipline. And without a vision, there is no self-imposed standards for your living. With a vision, you impose standards on yourself. You literally control your own behavior and your own response to life. You see, if you know where you're going, then you know which roads will take you there. If you know where you want to end up as a destination, then you know which route will not get you there. So you discipline yourself by not turning off on the wrong exits. You know, as I was driving to this place today, we drove a highway and there were exits all along that street. But you know, the driver didn't turn on any exit. He knew the destination of this place. And the destination controlled which exit to take. It's a principle. So if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. But if you know your destination, then you know which routes will get you there. And you discipline yourself. Even though the exit is good, it's not right for you. So you keep on driving. There's no such thing as a bad exit. Is there? No. There are just good exits that are not right for you. Purpose helps you determine what is right from what is good. You know, there are people who are good friends, but they're not right for what you want to accomplish. There are a lot of good things you could do, but it's not right for what you want to accomplish. You know, it was Paul who said in his writing to the Corinthians, Paul says, all things are expedient for me to do, but not all things are profitable. I can do whatever I want, Paul says, but not all things are beneficial to me. You see, I remember as a young man at age 13, I saw my end of my life. Now that sounds strange. David saw his as a teenager. Joseph saw his as a teenager. I saw mine as a teenager. I saw what I was born to be at age 13. Now, I didn't understand all of it because it was so big. I saw myself traveling around the world speaking to millions of people. I saw myself building big buildings and owning an airport and owning airplanes. I mean, and I was dumb enough to write it down. Don't laugh at me. It's happening. Why didn't you write yours down? I wrote mine down, and I shared it with my parents, and my mother and father are very interesting people. They never told me it cannot be done. You know what they said? They said, if God told you you should do this, then believe him. They said, we ain't got no money to help you. Here I was at age 13 with a dream. Now, so I wrote this thing down, and at age 14, of course, I was already giving my life back to God, and I began to understand that he created me to do these things that I saw. And so my relationship with God helped me to understand that in order for me to get to my dream, there's a route I must take. I must discipline myself. So when I was 14 years old, my friends offered me cigarettes. My friends offered me beer. My friends offered me alcohol. I went to parties and discos with my friends, and I tell you, they began to offer me all kinds of sex and everything else. And do you know, I never had sex in my life as a teenager. I was a virgin when I got married at age 25. I never smoked a cigarette in my life. Not because I didn't want to, or not because I was not asked to or was tempted to. I never drank a beer in my entire life. Never. I never drank alcohol in my life as a social aspect of my experience. What kept me from these vials? Well, there was no real special anointing upon my life as a teenager. But every time I thought of smoking a cigarette, you know what came in my mind? What I had on paper. I said, if I smoke this cigarette, in 10 years I'll have cancer in my lungs and I won't be able to build this building and travel around the world. So I compared the cigarette with my dream and realized that the cigarette was the wrong exit. When I was tempted to drink alcohol, I said, now if I, based on what I saw in other people's lives, in the gutter of life, I said, if I want to get to my destination, then if I take the route of alcohol, it will sabotage my plan, it will destroy my purpose, and violate the very discipline I need to get to my dream. So I didn't drink alcohol because my dream made it necessary for me not to drink. So I would tell people when they offer me alcohol, even today, I go to different corporate organizations to teach and to host seminars. And of course, they have their social meetings, you know, and they offer you cocktails. And I tell people, I don't need it. And they look at me and say, what do you mean? I say, I don't need alcohol. Some folks need it. I don't need it. Why? It is not in keeping with my dream. You see, for me to finish what I need to do, I need to live real long. So I don't need nothing to interfere with my life. And so alcohol is not good for me as a person who wants to finish a dream. And the same thing is true of you. Anything that interferes with the accomplishment of your dream is not good for you. It's not right for you. And so vision and purpose is critical, and it's the first thing you should capture. And whether you get revelation or vision from God. The only person that knows the purpose of a thing is the one who made it. So if you want to get your first principle, you've got to go to God. The second principle you need to be successful is the principle that I call passion. Everybody say passion. Now you got to say this with passion. Come on, say it. Passion. Come on, you got to move your whole body when you say it. Here we go. Passion. Everybody say, yeah. You know what's wrong with people? They don't have passion. People wake up in the morning and drag themselves out of bed. They make themselves go to the bathroom. They use a crane to pick up the soap. And they got to really believe the angels will help them brush their teeth. I mean, people don't wake up in life with passion. What is passion? Here's what passion is. Passion is a desire that is stronger than death. Passion is energy that is created by a purpose and meaning for life. Passion is a commitment that is beyond contention. That means anything that comes against you cannot stop your motivation to accomplish your dream. People don't have passion. I've discovered something, that the people who have affected history had a passion for what they were doing. They were willing to die for what they were going after. You know, if you quit going after what you wanted to do because of your first disappointment, it was really not in your heart in the first place. Passion is the kind of spirit that says to life, I'm going to live you until I finish you. You know, I remember as a teenager in a prayer meeting one time, I was praying, and as a young Christian, I was thanking God for giving me life and giving me a new birth. And I was saying to God, I thank you for giving me a reason for living. And I praise you. I finally found a reason to live. Father, you've given me hope. You've given me salvation. You gave me a reason to live. And while I was giving thanks, do you know what happened? Right in the middle of my praise and prayer, a voice spoke to my mind, and it said, that's why I cannot use you yet. Because you have found something to live for. He says, now when you find something to die for, then I can do business with you. You know, that's the problem with life. People haven't found anything to die for. If you are not willing to die for what you're living for, then it's not worth living for. If you want to start a business, you believe that that is God's will and dream for your life. You see yourself owning a franchise, or maybe building a massive manufacturing plant, or maybe starting a production of some perfume or dress or clothes, fashion or something. Maybe you see yourself building a school for unwed mothers, or maybe establishing a daycare center for children. I don't know what it is. If you believe that's from God, and you go to the bank, and the first bank said no, so you quit and go back to your typing job.